Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to a new episode of Business Basics. You're on the mic with Dr. H, the Global Mentor Coach, and I'm back from my winter hiatus. It is officially the first day of spring. I hope everyone has weathered the storm, so to speak, through the winter months. It's been a pretty rough winter for everybody. And so much has been going on in the business world. And I really want to touch on something that I think everybody can really benefit from. And we're going to talk about Payless. As you know, here on Business Basics, we give you all types of tips and things so that you can put your best foot forward as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, or someone who's interested in starting a business. So let's talk about Payless. And right now, if you don't know, Payless is in liquidation. They are closing their US stores. So what went wrong with Payless? The problem is simple. You no longer paid less at Payless. You've got to stay true to who you are, your market. And they outpriced themselves. They really were not loyal to their customer base. When you go into Payless, you should not be looking at DSW prices. What do I mean? I recently went into a Payless, hadn't been in a Payless in many years. I went into Payless recently because, hey, they're liquidating. They should have a sale 30. They have, first of all, their sale is 30% off. You're liquidating and your only sale is 30% off. And you go in there, you're 30% off a $50 shoe. First of all, why do you have $50 shoes in Payless when I can go to DSW and get a $50 shoe and the same 30% discount that they have all the time in DSW? And so the mindset of a person, at least for me, and I know, and several other people, when you go into Payless, you expect to pay less. You're not looking to go into Payless and see DSW prices. Two different customer bases. So when you show yourself to not be loyal to your customer base moves on. Again, you go into Payless, you shouldn't be seeing $49.99 shoes. That's not paying less. That's not the same thing. So that is kind of what happened with Payless. It's just, that's the short and skinny of it. And what I found interesting was Payless was doing this experiment. I don't know if you guys saw this. If you don't, you can go out here and Google it. USA Today has an article about it. It was back in November. This happened back in November around the holidays. CNN has it. It's actually on YouTube, and it just shows you. And they did an experiment. ABC News has it. They did an experiment to show that people are willing to pay more for a brand name. And so what they did was they changed the name. They put up this, basically they put up these fake stores, kind of like pop-up stores. And listen, pop-ups are great to do. Actually, they're great ideas. Great to do. And they named the store Palessi, Palessi. So it was a play on it. And they marked up discounted shoes to $600. They created this luxury experience and all this other kind of stuff and marked up discount shoes to $600. Some people paid $640 for a pair of discount shoes. And all they did was take, the pop-up was in an old Armani shop. So it already had that luxury glam feel and look to it. Great appearance. And they just popped in their little discount shoes, and people in there spending $650 on some shoes. So is this closing of U.S. stores by Payless a ploy to shift to Palessi? Because by now we already know it's not real. We already know it was an experiment. But if that's what they wanted to do, you can have two brands. People do it all the time. And what I really thought about, it really gave me thought, was there was an episode on Living Single when the character Regine, played by Kim Fields, she was working at this boutique, and the boutique got bought out by this exclusive luxury brand, and she was so excited because she was like, "Oh my God, it's gonna be amazing, and I'm gonna be here selling amazing gowns and all of these expensive things." And then when she goes to work the next day, boom, it's this bargain bin store, and it was just crazy. It was called the La Rag Bin. And it was crazy because her mom showed up. She was like, "Oh my God, you're the bin master. You're amazing." And she was just so embarrassed. And so she asked the guy, "What happened to the boutique?" And he says, "Are you kidding me?" He says, "This is the cash cow. We make a sale here every so many seconds. At that luxury stuffy boutique, we might make one sale a week. This is what keeps us going." And that's the truth. If you want a luxury brand, there's nothing wrong with that. But why would you push the envelope to the point that you have to shut down your loyal brand that keeps the business going for a luxury brand until the luxury brand gets its legs going? That's the lesson to learn from Payless. One, you don't outprice yourself in your market. And they literally outprice themselves in their own market. And that's just not something you do. They outprice themselves in their market. They were not loyal to their customer base. Just so many different things wrong. You're doing a liquidation and you got 30% off $49.99 shoes. What are you liquidating? Those shoes, and every shoe in there, nobody was buying. People were buying the cheap stuff. You put 60% off date planners. People aren't coming to Payless to buy a date planner. But guess what? It's 60% off. Purses are still in there hanging on the shelves. Shoes, full of shoes. Because you're only doing 30% off. You're liquidating. But listen, you outpriced yourselves. And you weren't loyal to your customers, and your customers let you know they didn't appreciate it, and they took their dollars and their business elsewhere. Why? People have a mindset. If I hear pay less, I expect to pay less. If I go on Payless and I see DSW prices, I'm going to go to DSW so I can get a name brand shoe at the same price and maybe get a better discount. Because you can go into the back of a DSW and get you a name brand shoe, and they'll have 30%, 40%, 50%, 60% off shoes back there. If you walk up and down the aisles, guess what you'll see? You'll still see 30% off this particular shoe right here. So you ain't always got to go to the back to the clearance, because it's right there in the aisles too. You want to make sure you don't outprice yourself in your market. Listen to your customers. Pay attention to the trends. Pay attention to where they're going, what they're doing, what's the economy doing, how is it hitting people. Because during this hard economy, Payless should have been thriving if they had stayed true to their original brand, to their original market, and let people actually pay less. Because, honey, listen, back in the day, first starting out, coming out of college, or when you're in college, Payless was the thing. Why? Because I can get me a decent shoe, and that thing would last me for a while. And it was stylish. It was cute. Go in there and drop 10, 15 bucks and you ain't nothing. 15 bucks for a shoe. 20 bucks for a shoe. Okay. When you start getting to $30, $40, $50, you got a problem. Thank God for Christian Siriano. I go in there and I got me some Siriano shoes, but I paid like 25 bucks. So it lets you know you don't have to spend that much. But why were y'all having $50 shoes in your store in the first place? That does not say Payless to me. After a certain threshold, people are going to go where they expect to pay that. Clark's Bostonian, DSW, That's small prices. I mean, you can pay $50 for a shoe in Macy's, Penny's, Sears, if you've got some of them still around, Nordstrom. So just a thought there, you guys. When you're out here and you're in business, learn from other people's mistakes, because this was a huge one. I don't know, that Paylessy thing, that Palessi, whatever you want to say it, however you want to say it, that experiment is red flags for me. That's where you're shifting to. There's a better way to do it. So, thanks for tuning in with me, Dr. Race, the Global Mentor Coach. You've been on the mic. This has been a new episode of Business Basics. We're back. Happy first day of spring. It was a great winter break, and I'm excited about some of the things that we'll talk about. I'm telling you, I've got some more great content. And stick around, keep tuning in, share the podcast with your friends, and support the podcast. We appreciate you. We're on all platforms. You can hear us on iOS. We're also on Spotify, Google. Keep listening. Look for Dr. H. Look for On the Mic with Dr. H. And thanks so much for tuning in. Remember to spread lots of love and light.